Yamaha hopped on the neo-retro bandwagon with the Xsr900 and 700 models as retro, and cafe racers gained popularity in the 2010s. They combined Iwata's pleasant and approachable demeanor with a distinctive retro aesthetic to become worldwide instant successes. The 2022 Yamaha Xsr900 has received its most significant upgrade to date, getting all of the enhancements seen on the newest generation MT-09, to which it is very closely related, as well as certain model-specific tweaks to truly distinguish the model. The new Yamaha Xsr900 will be available in the UK in June of this year in two colors: Midnight Black and Legend Blue as written. Legend Blue has a striking similarity to the legendary racing Yamahas of the 1970s and 1980s, as well as the Goloise's race motorcycles from Grand Prix. All mechanical upgrades from the current generation MT-09 and SP models are included in the XSR. The new 117 bhp 890cc CP3 engine, new frame, spin-forged wheels, electronics package, cruise control, found on the SP, and TFT display are all included. The suspension is tuned specifically for the new XSR, and it has a Brembo radially mounted master cylinder, similar to the MT-09 SP and Bridgestone S22 hoops. Aside from the general modifications, the Xsr900 receives numerous unique changes, the most noticeable of which is a redesigned swing arm for the model. It employs the same fundamental component as the Tracer 9 and GT of the newest version. It's around 60mm longer than the previous model Xsr900 and the current MT-09s, implying that the bike's wheelbase is about 50mm longer. The riding position has also been tweaked, becoming somewhat more upright, comfortable, and neutral. There's also the much cleaner looking aesthetic and the throwback race bike inspired seat unit. The 2022 Xsr900 will use the same engine as the newest generation MT-09s, with the same trim and output. The headline stats of 114 bhp peak power and 69 pounds-foot of torque support up my assessment that the CP3 is one of the most raucous triples in the sub-1000cc class. This year's XSR has 6% more peak torque, a beefier mid-range, and 3% more peak power than the previous model. Even on warm roads, and with comfy tires, it's punchy all the way through the mid-range, disturbing the traction control system. The XSR's airbox has been adjusted in comparison to the MT-09, and it sounds considerably different. It has a rich throaty induction noise that the MT does not have. It might be because the MT-09's induction ducts extend straight out in front, almost beneath the handlebar. The inlets of the XSR are smaller and positioned precisely under your helmet, ready to fill your lug holes with oral bliss. The most interesting aspect of the new Xsr900 is that it finally appears like a bike, designed from the ground up with a specific design philosophy. The old XSR appeared to be slapped together, as if a university engineering class had attempted to make a bike. The bike also has some extremely nice design details, and we're not talking about diesels and racing stipes. The rear subframe's aluminum under tray comes first. It's something a manufacturer would ordinarily leave alone, most likely made of injection molded plastic. By bolting on a piece of lightweight aluminum, Yamaha has given this part a new design. The bike's under-seat region is no longer an afterthought, but rather a focal point. The TFT dash is another area where I wish Yamaha had spent a little more attention. It's the same as the current MT-09, large, blocky, and completely inappropriate for a bike like this. This is a street-legal throwback racer. It absolutely needs a huge old analog rev counter, along with a smaller TFT to display all of the vitals and riding modes. I expected the XSR to be a little more clunky than its shorter sibling due to its longer wheelbase, about 50mm. However, this is not the case. It still seems energetic and eager to slide into a spin around town and on the road. It may not dart from side to side with the same ferocity as the MT, but it's certainly not sluggish in the turns. The wheelie is one handling attribute that the chassis revisions have made considerably more difficult. It's as simple as flicking your wrist to hoist a Minger on the MT-09, and it'll wheelie on demand, whenever and wherever you are. The XSR is a very different bike that requires more temptation and less technological interference to get the intended effect. It'll still do the job. If you're upgrading from the current MT-09, you'll simply need to alter your technique. The snazzy Brembo front master cylinder is included with the 2022 Yamaha Xsr900. It's a minor detail that has a significant impact on how the bike rides. It effectively raises the XSR to the same level as the MT-09 SP system, albeit it feels better on the XSR due to its slightly softer suspension. The level has a beautiful velvety feel to it, which is much nicer than the default MT-09's crisp feeling level. It allows you to precisely select the amount of braking force required for a certain circumstance, such as heaving up from a high speed or trail braking into a downhill hairpin. This year's riding position is different and more comfortable than previous years. The pegs can be adjusted in 2 positions, and the bars can clearly be customized. It's a fantastic item to sit on in this regard. It's sporty enough to throw some shapes if necessary, but it's also beautiful and neutral. At exactly 5,000 RPM, you feel a trace of buzz through the bars and pegs, but by 6,000, it's all but gone. So far, everything has gone well.